It is about sustainably reduce global disaster mortality by 2030, aiming to lower average by 100,000 global mortality between 2050 to 2030 compared to 2005 to 2015. So the first thing we're gonna feel is the number of deaths and missing persons attributed to disasters per 100,000 population. Now, in order to fill A1, we can simply fill A2 and A3 that will automatically add to A1. Now, it is very important that when we are filling this ND framework monitor system, first we have to choose the year for which we are reporting. So for this one, we are reporting for 2016. So now we'll go down to A2. We'll click on the plus sign on A2A, number of deaths attributed to disasters. Everyone have access to the post-disaster assessment report. We'll get all the figures from that report. Did anybody manage to find the number of deaths that was in 2016 due to Tropical Cyclone Winston? It is in the report where it is mentioned the number of people died from Tropical Cyclone Winston. If you have access to the report, it should be on page number 28. Anybody can find the number of people died from Tropical Cyclone Winston? Anyone from the participants? Mesake, can you find in the report?
According to the chat, Mr. Chris Ward have stated 44 deaths. Thank you very much, Chris, for participating. So it's 44 deaths, Mr. Kunal.
Okay, that's 44 deaths. Now we have to also report the source from where we got that digit from. So we have to put the name of the report. Anybody knows what is the name of the report?
So
it was
Ms. Caroline Titione mentioned it's TC Winston post-disaster needs assessment report. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mesake. Now what we can do is that we can disaggregate into which hazards, which the number of people died. So for this one, can everybody answer which was the hazard that 44 people died from? Okay, so it was tropical cyclone. All 44 people died from tropical cyclone. Now we'll go to geography. In geography, we're gonna split the numbers into which area the number of people we mentioned earlier died in. For so central, anybody knows number of people died from central? If you look at the report in page 28, there's a table about how many people died from each area.
According to the chat, Kunal, Anna Maria and Chris mentioned that it is 6.
Okay, that's excellent. That's correct. Now I go to eastern side. How many people died from eastern side?
Thank you, Anna Maria and Sarah. They
22. That's
reported
correct.
22. Yeah.
Now we go to northern. How many people died from northern side? Okay, that's correct. 3. And now the last part is the western side of Fiji. How many people died from western side? Thank you, Sarah. The answer is 13. 13 people died in the western side of Fiji. Okay, once we have filled those datas, we can click anywhere and it will be saved automatically. We can further categorize them into sex, like number of females died, number of males died, and then we can also further categorize into age. What was the age group of the people that have died? And then we can also break it down into income, like what was the income range, the number of people that were in the poverty line. And then we can also categorize the disability. How many people died from disability? So that will all add up and make it to 44. Anybody can find the number of females or males that have died from tropical cyclone Winston in the report? Okay, I believe nobody is able to find that. So we'll move to the other part of the breakout room, that is the discussion. So once you fill this information, you click anywhere and the data will be saved by itself. Okay, now we go to the discussion part. So these are some of the opportunities of data collection in the region that was being reflected by the University of South Pacific students doing the following course, which is Disaster Risk Reduction for Resilience. Now the first suggestion that was made by the students was incorporate Sendai framework monitor into policies and regulations at NDMO and NEMO. So once we put this Sendai framework into policies, so what will happen that all the NDMO has to report the data after each disaster in every year. So this will help to compile the accurate data and have the sufficient data every year. The second point is collaborate with ministries and civil society. The reason why we should include ministries is that each ministry is specialized in each department. For example, if we want the data about in agriculture, number of farms that were damaged by disaster. So the best information we can gather is from Ministry of Agriculture. Or if you want to know the economic impact of a disaster, the best ministry is Ministry of Economy. So it is very important to collaborate with all the ministries and the civil society in terms of data collection. Number 3 is establish disaster data collection functions in every ministry. It should be a compulsory that every ministry has to report a data. Then and only we can gather more and more relevant data for the Sendai framework. The fourth point is encourage teamwork within ministries. We have to make a team in a ministry that will be in charge or doing the data collection and reporting to the Sendai framework and the NDMO. Or we can also collaborate between two ministries. For example, if two ministries are linked to each other, they can also work together in terms of compiling the data. The last point is establish online system or social media group to share data. As we know, we youths are very used to with the social media in terms of technology, in terms of digital platform. So creating this online platform will enable the youths to give feedback about in terms of the society, how they are affected, and number of people that are affected, which later can be verified by the NDMO. So these are some of the points that was highlighted by students of University of South Pacific. Now I would like to open the floor to all the participants, how we can increase the opportunities of data collection in the Pacific region. The floor is open. You can also speak or you can also give your answers through the chat platform.
So there's a comment here from Shirlene Ali to please collect gender disaggregated data as well, not just in SNP. So just wanted to share that from the.
Yeah, thank you, Shalin, for your suggestion. Please collect gender disaggregated data as well as not just on sex.
And Patricia has raised her hand to speak. So
Thanks, David. Thanks, Kunal. I'd suggest using aggregating tools such as hashtags or, if possible, like an online aggregating platform that enables user-generated content to be populated and then kind of sifted through in order to find things. And also aggregating tools are really useful during disasters. And we learned this from the case of Japan and how they managed during the tsunami. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Patricia. Anyone else wants to make any suggestion? It's an open platform. No one is right, no one is wrong. There are many ways we can increase the opportunities of data collection. Imagine in our own countries how we as a youth, since we youth are the futures of a nation, how we can increase the data collection. Because you must have heard that data collection is very important. It is part of sustainable development goal, and every Pacific region is participating in that.
Kunal, Shalin Ali has.
Yes, Shalin Ali.
Thank you. I just wanted to add around disaggregation of data, the collection of, because I didn't have a chance to read through the post-disaster needs assessment report, so I didn't get to see whether the data on persons with disabilities is also missing. So in addition to making an effort to collect gender data, to also include data collection on persons with disabilities. This also leads to purposeful targeting when responding to emergencies. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalin Ali. Yeah, the age group and the disabilities and according to gender, those were the informations that were missing in the report. So that is why we want to incorporate the other ministries that can help to gather all these relevant data to fill the Sunday from work data collection. That's an excellent point, Shalin. We should consider that. Anybody else? How we can increase the opportunities of data collection?
Thank you, Kunal. If I may just step in, I totally agree with Ms. Sharinali on the disaggregated data. So this, I think the main reason why such report is in such form is because it is not available. So I think one way that we are working towards this is to provide templates that will enable the collection of disaggregated data. So thank you very much for that very important point raised by Ms. Kunal, we have. Oh, sorry. I
Thank
thought
you.
we have a
Yeah.
raised hand.
Yeah, we have Francesco, I think.
Shalin, your hand is
Yes,
still up. You still want to add something?
yes,
And
yes.
Nitin,
In that data collection page during COVID-19 as well. If chronicle illnesses can be also attached to it, especially with household assessment in regards to COVID-19 with the age group. So if we can also include that as baseline data for each community, so it makes easier for the vaccination team, to identify which people from each household has to be, let's say, for example, if it's 18 to 65, 4 people within the household. So I think that's one information that needs to be addressed in the template as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that comment. That is indeed very true, and I totally agree with you. Yes, this is what I meant when I was
thank
speaking
you.
earlier in the
And
main group.
if we look in the
So yeah, in the main group that we need this disaggregated data for a targeted approach, and it's important to do so because of the vulnerability that different people of different age group of different gender face. Yeah, thank you very much for that.
If I may, just to jump in with a few of the comments that have come in the chat function. So we've got Nitin Raj has noted that data on the number of farmers being affected is also important. Anna Maria is noting that she thinks it's important to consider working with religious organizations as they gather more people, in brackets diversity. And I think Charlene here has also added to incorporate gender, disability and inclusion analysis into general assessments. So it's a multisectoral assessment. Thank you very much. All very good comments. And Patricia, please do come in. If you wish to speak up, go ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, David. I just wanted to add that it would be useful to establish the use of GIS in mapping disaster databases and then beginning to kind of localize and contextualize by linking it to existing information that is already within government systems.
Thank you, Patricia. I know, yeah, implementing GIS in the data framework system will also help to locate, like, in terms of different geographical area of different countries, how, like, number of people died. For example, at the moment, Fiji is using, in terms of COVID-19, like, we have those dots, like red dots and the blue dots, to locate the number of new cases and the existing number of cases of COVID-19 in Fiji. So yeah, we can use the GIS also in the data collection, which can help to implement or to depict the data that we have collected. So we have another 2 minutes before we have to report back to the main room. Anybody likes to add any more opportunities of data collection?
Patricia's hand is up. Please.
I think that was from before, but I have a question and I'm not sure maybe someone can respond to this. And this is around how do we capture data from the communities when it comes in vernacular and begin to present it in a way that everyone else understands? Because sometimes things from the frontline communities aren't in English or aren't in a technical format that is able for wider distribution. So if anyone here can kind of help me link that to this.
Thank you very much, Pat. I'll give an example from Fijian Demo. For Fijian Demo, we have the Fiji cluster system, one of which is the communication cluster. What we're trying to do is within the communication cluster, we have the communication subcluster and telecommunication subcluster. So in communication subcluster, we are